In a few moments, I will sign a historic executive order instituting reciprocal tariffs on countries throughout the world. Reciprocal, that means they do it to us and we do it to them.
499,000 American jobs are now at risk, not because of China, but because of a 25% tariff slapped on cars built by American workers right here in the United States. A friendly fire tax, unintended consequences of a misdirected policy. In 2025, the U.S. government imposed a 25% tariff on imported vehicles. But instead of targeting Chinese brands or trade rivals, this policy unintentionally hit some of America's oldest industrial allies: Japan, Toyota, Honda, and Nissan. Three brands that account for nearly 1/3 of all vehicles on U.S. roads were suddenly caught in the crossfire. But here's what few realized. Most of their cars weren't even made in Japan. They were assembled right here in North America. Japanese automakers have spent decades building integrated production chains in the U.S., investing in hundreds of factories and R&D centers. Yet with one signature, they were lumped together with nations accused of unfair trade practices. A nationwide employment crisis. 499,000 American jobs in limbo. Data from 2024 reveals a staggering picture. Japanese car makers sold nearly 5.9 million vehicles in the U.S., with over 3.2 million of them manufactured domestically. To sustain this scale, they operated 29 factories, 34 research centers, and hundreds of logistics hubs across 27 states. Altogether, more than 400,000 American workers are directly employed by these operations. But that's just the beginning. When including jobs in parts supply, dealerships, and repair services, the total number of Americans tied to this ecosystem exceeds 2.29 million. States like Tennessee, Kentucky, Texas, and Ohio, industrial strongholds, are now bracing for mass layoffs as Japanese manufacturers cut production or relocate assembly lines to avoid the new tariffs. The irony? A policy designed to protect American workers is now threatening their livelihoods. Strategic response: cut, shift, evade, diversify. No press conferences, no public protests. Japanese car makers responded the way they know best, quietly but decisively. Nissan slashed 13,000 units at its Kyushu plant in just 3 months. Toyota rerouted orders to Thailand. Honda adjusted production schedules in Canada. All three began moving supply chains toward Mexico, Vietnam, and Indonesia. This wasn't improvised. It was phase one of a strategy years in the making. Since as early as 2018, when trade tensions first escalated, Japanese companies had been laying the groundwork for a backup production network across Asia. The strategy? Step back in America to leap forward in Southeast Asia, and even China. Global restructuring and the long-term implications for U.S. economic leadership. What began as a technical workaround is now triggering a full-blown restructuring of global auto supply chains. Investment once headed for the U.S. is now flowing elsewhere: Thailand, Indonesia, Vietnam, and more notably, China. Toyota signed a $2 billion agreement with Shanghai to build an all-new EV plant. Mazda poured $150 million into expanding EV lines in Bangkok. Honda is enlarging operations in northern Vietnam. And while Toyota is still investing $13.9 billion in a U.S. battery plant in North Carolina, its hiring targets have been scaled back. This isn't about a few factories. It's a strategic shift in manufacturing geography. Tokyo, Seoul, and major Asian firms now regard Washington with caution. No one says it outright, but the question hangs in the air. Is the U.S. still a reliable partner, or just another trade risk? What started as a tax policy is now challenging the nation's global economic standing, because in today's interconnected supply chains, no one stands alone.